Lena, do you believe in Plato?
Person Plato?
I don't mean believe in him like, we'd say believe in Jesus. I'd say, do you believe that Plato lived?
I do.
Okay. Have you ever heard anyone who was laid awake at night wrestling with the question of whether or not Plato really ever existed? I've never heard anyone. Have you, Joshua?
No.
When I referenced Plato on our last tour, the tour before, or one of our tours, be honest with me, did anyone, when I mentioned Plato, did anyone say, I doubt that Plato ever lived? No. Well, except that he lived. Correct? I have a book here, 5 Great Dialogues by Plato. I doubt that anyone opens these up and says, I don't know, I doubt that Plato ever really said this stuff. Why is it that the only book that ever comes under great attack in terms of whether or not it is really correct is this book here? I wonder why. We've already talked about why. But what I want you to do is to understand that even though this is under great attack from historical revisionist activists, we saw a film of the Jesus Seminar voting. You recall? What were they trying to do? Rewrite history. Now, I want you to understand that we have a huge amount of historical evidence that supports what we have and the historical document that the Scriptures gives to us. Look at the ancient works that exist today. And what I want you to do is compare the oldest manuscripts for each one. Let's look at one. For Homer's Iliad, the earliest manuscript we have, let's assume that Homer is writing his Iliad on this date. The oldest manuscript we have is one that was written 500 years after Homer wrote the Iliad in the beginning. You with me? Okay, Julius Caesar. The oldest manuscript we have is a document that was written 1,000 years after Caesar. That would be like saying what we are saying here today, the words that we're talking and speaking here today, 2,000 years from now, the only thing people have, the earliest thing that people have to find out whether or not we said what we said in here is a document that will be written 1,000 years from today. Are you with me? You follow me? Pliny's history, 750 years. 1,300 years, 1,300 years. Let's look at the New Testament. What do we have? 25 years. Only 25 years to the first and earliest document that we have. That's pretty significant. Let's look at another aspect. What about the number of manuscripts that we have? Let's go back to the same list. We have 643 manuscripts on Homer's Iliad. That's a lot. Julius Caesar, 10. Pliny's, 7. 8. What do we have with the New Testament? We have 5,000 Greek manuscripts. We have 19,000 manuscripts other than Greek. Over 24,000 manuscripts. When the Scripture, talking about the New Testament at this point, is laid aside all of the other ancient documents of which no one questions, we have manuscripts that are so close and so many compared to that. Why is it that you and I and the people around us are led to believe that you can't trust this to be historically accurate? There's a great deal of historical